After a generation hanging out on an outdated platform, the Mark 7 Volkswagen Jetta finally feels like a fully fledged member of the family, rocking the same platform technology and powertrain as the crowd favorite Golf. You know what that means? It means that it's time to say hello to the 2019 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. And once again, we've got a GLI that doesn't feel like it plays second fiddle to the GTI. But still, there's something a little off about this sport compact sedan and comparing it to its 5-door sibling, so let's take a closer look, shall we? Now, being based on the modular MQB platform means that Volkswagen was able to take all of the GTI's Go Faster goodies and just bolt them onto the Jetta chassis to complete the GLI. Which means that in the wheel well, we've got a GTI spec suspension that sits a little bit firmer and a little bit lower than the standard Jetta equipment. And under the hood, we've got the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine you'll find in the GTI, making 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, which it puts through either a 6-speed manual transmission or, like we've got here, a 7-speed dual clutch unit. The mid-tier 35th anniversary edition comes standard with Volkswagen's dynamic chassis control adaptive dampers, but you can't get that setup on the top-tier Autobahn that we're in now, which is a little weird, but we're doing pretty good with the fixed suspension setup. In fact, DCC didn't feel like a must-get feature on the GTI, and it seems like you can get along just well without it here. This car still feels like a ton of fun as equipped. Now, aiding the handling is Volkswagen's VAQ limited slip differential and the XDS brake-assisted electronic differential, both on the front axle. And those are going to aid in stability and control when you're tucking into a corner and powering out past the apex. Now, you've got 4 drive modes to choose from. There's Sport, Normal, Eco, and a customizable Individual. And you can really feel the difference in the steering and the throttle response between Sport and Normal. You can also really hear the difference thanks to the sound generation system. Now, that fake engine noise sweetening feels a little bit more natural here than I remember it in the GTI, so I'm kind of flip-flopping between being just less annoyed at the fake engine sound and kind of liking it. Whatever side of the fence you come up on, you can definitely adjust the sound in the individual mode. Now, the steering feels about as good as it did in the GTI, though the sedan feels just a little bit softer, like its turning radius is just a little bit larger, and you can feel that near the limit. Now, like the GTI, which felt good near the limit, but best when you're only giving it around 75 to 80% of the beans, the GLI responds best to an enthusiastic but relaxed driving style. And under most conditions, it feels so fantastic that I don't think most drivers are going to notice the slightly softer, slightly more stable ride quality under daily driving conditions. In fact, I think some drivers will actually prefer taking a little bit of that edge off for longer highway commutes. Now, as I mentioned, the GLI is longer than the GTI, about 1.5 feet overall, and while a lot of that goes into the trunk, the sedan features a rear seat that has 2 extra inches of legroom for backseat passengers, which is good for those of us who want to take advantage of all 5 seating positions. That said, the GTI with its hatchback still has the overall cargo advantage when loading up bulky items with its rear seats folded flat. There's just no replacement for all that displacement. Now, while the front seat dimensions are about the same between the 2 cars, here is where I think you'll notice the biggest difference between the GTI and the GLI on a daily basis. And that's because the sedan's cockpit just feels a lot cheaper. There are lower quality materials like hard, shiny plastics on the door cards or lower quality materials on the dashboard. And there's a general lack of details and finish. There's no, for example, contrast stitching at the top of the dash. And the seats that I'm sitting on are the regular Jetta SEL seats instead of the sport buckets that you can get in the GTI. And there's a lack of bolstering that you'll notice when you chuck this thing into a corner and find yourself bracing against the center tunnel of the door with your knees. A rear view camera, blind spot monitoring, and forward collision warning with automatic braking assist are standard safety features. But I did notice that some of the Jetta's more advanced driver aid features, things like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping steering assist, are missing from the GLI's options list, which is a little bit weird. Now, if you can get over those nitpicks, or maybe you just don't care, at least the Volkswagen GLI is equipped with the same good App Connect technology in the dashboard as the rest of Volkswagen's 2019 lineup. I also noticed that there's no way to upgrade the dashboard tech with onboard navigation, so it's a good get that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard, because you're going to be bringing your own maps along for the ride. And in this top trim Autobahn model, we've got the VW Digital Cockpit Digital Instrument Cluster, which is really good. Now, we've gone into great detail on this infotainment system in a variety of Volkswagen vehicles, so if you want to know why I love it so much, just check out one of Roadshow's various tech deep dives. Now, compared to something like the Honda Civic Si, the GLI feels like a much larger and more powerful vehicle. In fact, I'd wager that it's a better car overall. Compared to something like the aging Subaru WRX, this is a much more affordable and easier to live with vehicle, though I think I might still go with the Subi if I needed all-wheel drive or performance was paramount. The 2019 Volkswagen Jetta GLI technically starts at $26,000 for the base S model, which won't be available till later this year. At time of filming, your only choices are the $27,000 35th anniversary edition with its active dampers, or this well-equipped Autobahn model for around $29,195. Add in our very special gray paint, the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, and destination charges, and you're looking at just over $31,000 as equipped. That's about $6,800 less than a comparably equipped GTI Autobahn, which kind of makes up for the cheaper feeling interior. So no, the GLI isn't as good as the GTI, but it's a lot more affordable, has a discreet trunk if you're into that, and is still very appealing to those looking for a more spacious backseat experience. Turns out, falling just short of one of the best sport compacts on the market still leaves Volkswagen's affordable little sports sedan here in a very advantageous and desirable position. So what's your poison? Sports sedan or hot hatchback? Leave your vote in the comments below, and don't you dare say SUV. On your way down though, you're going to have to pass the subscribe button, so be sure to hit it for even more reviews from the Roadshow crew like this one.